My baby shower ended with my mother-in-law in handcuffs. You won't believe what she did. I never thought my baby shower would end with my mother-in-law getting arrested, but here we are. My name's Sarah, I'm 29, married to my husband Gary, and pregnant with our first child. This whole journey's been wild and emotional, but exciting too. Gary and I have been together a long time, married 4 years now. We'd been trying for a baby since last year, and when we found out I was pregnant 6 months ago, we were over the moon. We've gone through everything side by side, doctor visits, setting up the nursery, reading all the parenting books. Gary's been incredible through it all. He's so pumped to be a dad, and honestly, seeing him this excited just makes me love him even more. Every kick I feel, every little milestone, it brings us closer to the moment we finally meet our baby. Now, we didn't tell anyone right away. We wanted to wait till I was past the first trimester, just to be safe. It was our secret for a while, and it made the bond between us even stronger. I'd catch him smiling at my belly when he thought I wasn't looking. We'd lie in bed and talk about names, what kind of parents we wanted to be, what values we'd raise our daughter with. It was our little bubble, and it felt sacred. So about 2 months ago, we invited all our family and close friends over for lunch. Nothing fancy, just a casual get-together, at least that's what they thought. As soon as folks saw my belly, their faces lit up. My aunt gasped and started clapping. One of Gary's cousins started tearing up. There was laughter, hugs, and more love than I ever expected in one room. My mom cried, happy tears, of course. She totally understood why we kept it quiet at first and was just thrilled to be a grandma. But Gary's mom, Barbara, oh boy. She was not pleased. Instead of being excited, she looked like she'd just swallowed a lemon. Her lips tightened, her eyes narrowed, and she looked at me like I'd committed a crime. She got upset that we hadn't told her sooner, and somehow turned it into a personal attack. I tried to explain. We weren't trying to leave her out, we just wanted to wait, but she shut down and barely said a word to me the rest of the day. Barbara didn't just ignore me. She disrespected my mom too, who's always been nothing but kind to her. My mom tried to break the ice with a compliment about Barbara's earrings, and Barbara replied with a flat, "Thanks," without even looking at her. While everyone else was laughing and chatting, Barbara sat off to the side, glued to her phone, sulking like a teenager grounded for the weekend. She kept mumbling about how we'd robbed her of time with her grandchild, like we'd committed some sort of betrayal. By the end of the night, the tension was so thick you could cut it with a knife. I had to step outside just to catch my breath. My mom followed and sat with me while I tried to pull myself together. "She'll get over it," my mom whispered. "Just breathe, sweetheart." But I wasn't so sure. When it came time to leave, Barbara made a big show of saying goodbye to me last. No real words, just a cold bye like I was some stranger. Gary walked her and his dad to their car, and that's when the yelling started. I was still standing in the foyer when I heard it all. Barbara lit into Gary, saying she couldn't believe I had the audacity to keep the pregnancy from her. She made it sound like I was trying to punish her. Gary, God bless him, stayed calm at first. He told her we made the decision together and it wasn't about not trusting her. We just wanted to make sure everything was okay before we shared the news. That didn't fly with her. She started yelling. "This is my grandchild. I deserve to know from the beginning," Gary finally snapped. He told her straight up. If she's blaming someone, she better blame him too, because it was a joint decision. He told her to stop making this about her and to quit attacking me. Barbara didn't back down. She accused me of being controlling, of isolating her son, and said that as his mother, she should have been the first to know. That's when Gary told her she needed to leave before she said something she'd really regret. She stormed off, fuming, and Gary came back in, frustrated and hurt. I hadn't even realized I was crying until he wiped the tears off my cheeks. His mom's words hit deep. Later that night, I got a message from her. My heart sank the second I saw her name on my phone. It said, "I must say I am deeply disappointed in you. You knowingly kept a significant piece of information from me, and I find it absolutely unforgivable. I can't believe you would rob me of the joy of knowing about my grandchild from the beginning. This is not how a family should operate, and I find it disrespectful and hurtful. Instead of apologizing for your immature actions, you're causing a divide between me and my son. Shame on you. I showed Gary the message. He was livid. Called her right then and there. Told her if she sent anything like that again, we'd cut her off. He warned her not to upset me, not now, not while I'm carrying our child. After that, Barbara switched gears. No apology, no reflection, just this sudden offer to throw us a baby shower, as if that would magically fix everything. She said it would mean the world to her, that she'd take care of everything, that she wanted to celebrate her grandchild properly. Gary looked at me, hopeful, but I wasn't so sure. To me, it didn't feel like love. It felt like control, like she was trying to get back in charge of the situation, like this was her way of rewriting the narrative. I told Gary how I felt, that letting her throw the shower might just encourage her behavior. He listened, and he understood where I was coming from. But then he said, maybe this is her way of trying to make things right. I didn't believe that, but I didn't want to start a war either. So I agreed, but with conditions. My mom would help plan. We'd review every detail, and Barbara would not, under any circumstances, pull any surprises. Well, that didn't exactly go as planned. To be honest, I thought that was the end of the surprises. But nope. Turns out my mother-in-law had more drama up her sleeve, and a little too much to drink for a baby shower. The games went on, people were trying to have fun, and I was doing my best to focus on the good. But I could already sense Barbara was wound up. She kept hovering, micromanaging, loudly complaining about how certain guests hadn't RSVP'd properly, how the food wasn't elegant, how the decorations weren't grand enough for her first grandchild. Then came the gift opening. Everyone had been so thoughtful. I was really touched. But then, Barbara, my MIL, walks over with this huge gift box and this smug, exaggerated grin on her face. The room went dead quiet. I felt my stomach twist. My mom shot her a sharp look, and everyone else looked around, not sure whether to laugh or be concerned. I forced a thank you and tried to keep it moving, but man, I was dying to roll my eyes. Then came the cake. She had ordered this massive, over-the-top cake like it was her own wedding, and right before I could even say anything, she stood up, clinked her glass, and got everyone's attention. I was already on edge, but then she announced, loud and proud, that she'd picked out the perfect name for our baby girl. I froze. We hadn't even picked a name yet ourselves, and here she was declaring that the baby would be named after her great-grandmother, something that sounded like it belonged in a dusty old Victorian novel. I politely told her that my husband and I would be naming our baby ourselves, together as a couple. But she wasn't having it. She doubled down, saying that since she spent so much money on the shower, I should be grateful enough to let her name the baby. At that point, I was shocked. The entitlement was unreal. I stood my ground and told her again, calm but firm, that naming our child was a decision for me and my husband alone. That's when she completely lost it. She started yelling, calling me disrespectful, claiming I was ungrateful, even insulting how I was raised. She pointed her finger in my face, shouting that since she gave birth to my husband, and it was his sperm that got me pregnant, she was basically the real mommy of this baby. My mom stepped between us, trying to shield me, but Barbara kept going, insulting me, insulting my mom, calling me all kinds of names. It was clear she'd had way too much to drink, and reasoning with her was like yelling at a storm. People started backing away. Some even pulled out their phones to record. I tried to leave, to salvage what little dignity I had left, gathering up the gifts my friends brought. But Barbara? She snatched the gifts right out of my arms and threw them to the ground, screaming that I was an ungrateful witch who was tearing her and her son apart. That's when I'd had enough. I called the cops, at my own baby shower, because I was genuinely starting to feel unsafe. When the officers arrived, she flipped into full drama mode, pointing at me, blaming me for everything, trying to act like I was the villain. But the cops saw right through it. They tried reasoning with her, but she was drunk, belligerent, and loud. Eventually, she started yelling at them too, and that didn't end well. They arrested her on the spot. I left with my mom and a few close friends, all of us just shaken and drained. Since then, it's been rough. My Emil's been on a full guilt trip, playing the victim to any family members who weren't at the shower. Most of them live in different cities and didn't see what actually went down. My husband, bless him, understood why I called the cops, but at first, He thought I went a little too far. He said maybe I should have called him or his dad instead, but he wasn't there. He didn't see how out of control things got. Update 1. The response I got after sharing all this, honestly, I was overwhelmed. So many folks reached out to say they supported my decision. I'd never seen Barbara act this aggressively before. Usually, we just saw her on holidays, and even then, I tried to keep things civil. But this was something else. A few guests even sent me the videos they took. I plan to show them to my husband. Update 2. I showed him the recordings. We sat down for a real talk. I walked him through everything. How it all started with her being mad about not being told about the pregnancy, then the tension at the shower, the gift, the name announcement, the insults, the meltdown. He watched the videos, and I could see it on his face. Horror, embarrassment, sadness. He apologized, truly apologized, for not realizing how serious it had gotten. He admitted he never thought his mom could be that toxic, that it was out of character, but clearly not an isolated moment. He told me I did the right thing, that my safety and our babies came first. We also talked about the bigger picture, how his mom's need to control everything had overshadowed what should have been a joyful moment in our lives. Now, we're figuring out how to move forward, with boundaries. And if that means keeping her at arm's length until she learns how to act like a decent human being, then so be it. Because this baby, she deserves peace. And so do I.